The story opens with a bloody scene. A young man is surrounded by a group of people during a fierce, heavy downpour. He is covered in fresh blood and asks the crowd, "How long do you all intend to drag this out?" The assassins, every one of them, remained silent. They then all at once raised their swords towards the young man and charged. The young man's few companions were immediately sent flying by the assassins. One of them swung at the young man, yelling loudly, "I will kill you, you worthless barbarian!" The young man watched his opponent's blade as it swung close to his neck, without a trace of fear. He drew his sword with a speed that the naked eye could not follow. No one saw how he struck. They only saw the assassins, now spraying fresh blood from their bodies. After dealing with those few men, the young man did not rush to strike again, but stood there, resting his sword on his shoulder, coldly watching the crowd before him, slashing and killing. It never ends. Those damned Volam men. They signed a treaty, only to go back on their word like this. "But I must protect that person for my lord." Thinking this, he shouted loudly to encourage the brothers behind him. "We must hold on at all costs. Reinforcements will be here soon." Just then, another voice rang out. "Are these the reinforcements you were talking about?" As soon as the voice finished, several human heads were thrown out. The newcomer was a large, muscular man. A powerful killing intent emanated from him. The young man's eyes widened in disbelief. Have all the reinforcements been wiped out? How can this be possible? It was then that his eyes noticed Dot Model. Look at the attire of that newcomer. That man is the Martial Alliance leader. This is one sword shakes the heavens, damn Thean hack. When the young man saw him appear here, it became even harder for him to believe. Is he really going to take action himself? Damn Thean hack looked at them with admiration. As expected, the power of the Tuyet Bang squad is incredibly strong. Even if the entire Phi Long brigade had joined the fight, there would still be this many survivors. The young man gave him a cold smile. "I never expected that the Alliance leader would go to such trouble for the Tuyet Bang squad. If you were to encounter the Tuyet Lin squad, which was personally trained by the Lord, you would surely be in for great trouble." The men from the Martial Alliance grew angry and shouted when they heard him mock the Alliance leader. How dare he speak like that in front of the Alliance leader? I will cut out his tongue right now. This barbarian dares to be insolent toward our Alliance leader. His crime is unforgivable. You will certainly die here. Damn Thean Hawk, however, was not as agitated as them, and simply stood there calmly. At that very moment, a woman emerged from the carriage behind them. "Please wait a moment." The young man turned in surprise to look at Lady Hualien. "Why did you come out?" Hualien waved to reassure him, "I am fine. Do not worry about me." Damn Thean Hawk glanced at his subordinates behind him and ordered, "You all fall back as well." The men obeyed immediately without question. Hualien quickly walked forward, facing Damn Thean Hawk. She uttered a single title Alliance leader. Damn Thean Hawk immediately snapped angrily. "To be bewitched by those barbarians. And as if that was not enough, you ran away from home. This is the first time I have ever had to endure such an insult, such a disgrace. But anyone can make a mistake and anyone can turn back. As a father, I will give you one last chance. Come back here. If you are smart, you will know what choice to make." Hualien asked in return. "If I return, will you spare them?" Damn Thean Hack's brow furrowed, staring at her without answering. Hualien lowered her head and sighed just as she had expected. "I am sorry, father." Hearing his daughter speak these words, Damn Thean Hawk immediately understood her meaning. He drew his sword very well. The barbarian youth saw this and shouted in terror, "Damn Thean Hawk, what do you think you are doing?" Damn Thean Hawk raised his sword, a single strike without a trace of mercy, slashing straight down upon Hualien. Although the young man tried to rush forward and stop it, he was ultimately a step too slow. After delivering that one strike, Damn Thean Hawk immediately turned away. "From this moment on, I have no daughter. He only has a mission, to reclaim the soul of the Central Plains that was stolen by the barbarians, Charge Flying Dragon Brigade." As soon as he finished speaking, the subordinates behind him charged forward in unison. That young man was no pushover either, cutting down anyone who rushed at him. He shouted to the people behind him, "Everyone fight to the very last moment." The two sides once again fell into a vicious battle, all while the heavy rain grew even more intense. Hualien lay on the ground barely breathing. She thought to herself, "I must return. I am sorry I could not keep my promise. Next time I definitely will. The scene changes to a certain grand hall. Here it was also raining heavily, accompanied by thunder and lightning. This person is the Lord of the North Sea Palace, Tuyet Vodok. After listening to his subordinate below, he was startled. What did you say? The other person explained. The members of the Snow Ice Squad, including Bakvu Quiet, the main team as a delegation, came to sign a treaty with the Wulin Alliance. They clashed with the Phi Long Don, led by the Wulin Alliance leader. As a result, the entire team was annihilated. As soon as he finished speaking, the terrifying aura from Tuyet Vodok erupted with extreme ferocity. Everyone present here was suppressed by this aura, and no one dared to open their mouths. Tuyet Vodok's killing intent was completely undisguised. As he stood up, unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable. I will wipe them all out, leaving no one behind. Everyone prepare yourselves. We will annihilate the Central Plains. Sometime later, at a certain place on a snowy mountain peak, Dam Thien Hak's body was covered in bloody wounds, kneeling on the ground while leaning on his sword. Have we been completely wiped out? My internal energy is depleted. Is this how it ends? He spoke to the person opposite him. Now kill me, North Sea Palace Lord. Tuyet Vodok stood opposite with his hands clasped, staring at him with no intention of making a move. Why Dam Thien Hak was puzzled, not knowing what matter he was referring to. Tuyet Vodok continued, why did you kill her? What was the reason? Dam Thien Hak let out a coarse laugh. What are you talking about? The daughter of the Wulin Alliance leader in love with a barbarian. Like you, letting her live would have been an even greater mistake. Hearing this, Tuyet Vodok momentarily fell silent. He then raised his hand, gathering true chi into his palm. Dam Thien Hak showed no fear, laughing fiercely. Even if you manage to take over Jiangnan, so what? Tuyet Vodok could not help but be horrified upon seeing this group dot model. You also cannot obtain the thing you want most. Heh heh. The moment he finished speaking, his body was struck by Tuyet Vodok's attack, pierced through. Is this how you finally end? In his mind, he unconsciously recalled memories of his daughter, deep down, inside him. He was also a father who dearly loved his daughter. Hualien, why did you betray your father? How could you associate with that barbarian? He was furious and grief-stricken. That night, with the death of the Martial Arts Alliance leader, the great bloody battle that lasted for 6 years finally came to an end. This was also the moment the living legend of the BAC High Palace, Alliance leader Tuyet Vodok, became the sole absolute master of the Central Plains. However, Tuyet Vodok felt not a shred of happiness. He just silently gazed at the bright moon. Sometime later, in Tuyet Vodok's room, in the cold, dark night, a flower was blooming beautifully in the room. Tuyet Vodok looked at the flower and thought to himself, now all I have left is this flower stalk. A memory unconsciously surfaced in his mind. One day, while he was writing a script for the Google channel, Review, a voice from outside called out brother. He turned his head and saw it was Hualien, running towards him while holding a flower vase. Brother, look, the twin-stemmed lotus has finally bloomed. Tuyet Vodok was startled and looked at the vase in her hands. The twin-stemmed lotus. This is the flower that only blooms when two people truly love each other. Hualien replied, sobbing. That's right, although I never doubted your heart, brother. The twin-stemmed lotus just would not bloom. I was so sad because of it. But now it has blossomed so beautifully. It turns out my love was not unrequited. You love me very much too, brother. Tuyet Vodok sighed. What a foolish girl, that is a matter of course. Besides Hualien, who else could I possibly love? He thought to himself as he held her in his arms. To be able to see Hualien looking this happy, I truly must thank this flower branch. I must fill the garden with Lian Li flowers. Recalling these things, Tuyet Vodok could not help but feel a sense of loss in his heart. The emptiness without Hualien. No matter what, I can never forget you. Yes, at that moment the Lian Li flower in the vase suddenly bloomed. It was incredibly beautiful. This inevitably startled Tuyet Vodok. The Lian Li flower has bloomed again. What is happening? He immediately shouted loudly, Vo-on. As soon as he finished speaking, Vo-on appeared and knelt behind him. Your subordinate is here. Tuyet Vodok waved his hand and commanded, go find someone who can explain this phenomenon to me. Even if you have to scour the heavens and earth of the Central Plains, you must find them. Voan replied seriously, as you command. A few days later, on a beautiful morning, the most knowledgeable scholars were gathered at the BAC Hai Bung Kung. They were all very confused, discussing in low voices. Why on earth did the BSC Hai Than Kung bring us here? Just then a loud voice rang out. The palace master has arrived. The crowd was startled, looking up. Did that voice descend from the heavens? Truly, they did not even explain what to do. Do any of you know? Let us hurry and see. As the crowd went outside, they were stunned by the sight before them. Their eyes widened. What is that thing? Impossible, it is too magnificent. Before them was a garden of blooming lian li flowers, an extremely eye-catching sight to have lived to this age. And I have never seen such a scene. This is the first time I have seen a whole garden of lian li flowers like this. This is a flower that is extremely difficult to see even once in a lifetime. The character for love looks as if it is embroidered on the trunks. They truly are lian li flowers. So how can there be so many of these precious things here? Tuyet Vodak came up behind them and asked, Do you all like the flowers? The group turned their heads and answered excitedly, How could we not? This flower is but wait, who might you be? Tuyet Vodak did not hide his identity, and revealed his name with a smile. I am the master of this garden. When the group heard him state his identity, they were shocked once more. What, Tuyet Vodak? Why is the absolute poison envoy of the Central Plains here of all places? Tuyet Vodak paid little attention to their reaction, and slowly began to explain. As you all know, this garden is filled with lian li flowers. My beloved and I made the lian li flower bloom with our love. My beloved died and this flower died with them. But for some unknown reason, a few days ago, it came back to life. The more the group listened, the more they found it unbelievable. Come back to life? That is impossible. Is it true that the lian li flowers came back to life? Tuyet Vodak confirmed it with certainty. That is right, I saw it with my own eyes. The group immediately broke into a clamor. What strange matter is this? It is truly a strange occurrence. In that case, there is only one possibility. Tuyet Vodak immediately appeared before the man. A possibility. What possibility is that? The old man explained. Rebirth into a new body, which is to say reincarnation. It seems the palace master's deceased lover has been reincarnated somewhere in this world. That is according to my speculation. Tuyet Vodak was shocked. Is that true? The old man replied if that were not the case, there would be no other explanation for how the Hualien Li came back to life. Tuyet Vodak stroked his chin in thought. Reincarnation is reincarnation, right? All right, there is finally hope. Although I have succeeded in entering the Central Plains, fulfilling the long-held dream of the Biakahai to unify the entire Central Plains. But all I am left with is emptiness. The stronger the BAC High becomes, the more I miss you, Hualien. Without you, it is as if I have lost my purpose in life. After a moment of thought, he asked, So is there any way to find her? Please explain quickly. The old man continued, If a man and a woman who are in love are together, the Hualien Li will emit a faint glow. If the palace master finds his lover, the Hualien Li will emit light. Tuyet Vodak fell into deep thought once more. Come to think of it, the Hualien Li that Hualien brought also emitted light. At that time I overlooked that detail. I never thought it held such a secret. The old man continued to explain. It would be very difficult to carry a fresh flower. Therefore I suggest you carry the Hualien Li, encased in a specially crafted gemstone. Tuyet Vodak was skeptical. Is that possible? The old man confirmed, yes, it is. Tuyet Vodak chose to trust him very well. Then I will entrust this matter to you. I will depart in 10 days, so please have everything ready by then. The old man bowed respectfully. Yes, I understand. Tuyet Vodak continued, If everything goes smoothly, I will reward each of the Van Back two with 100 taels of gold. Hearing this, the entire group was stunned. Their mouths fell open. Their mouths fell open. Their mouths fell open. 100 taels of gold. Is this true? If I were rewarded with 100 taels of gold, I could stop working and just eat and farm views for Hugo. Tuyet Vodak turned and walked away. Of course it is true. I will be leaving now. The crowd bowed in unison to see the sect leader off. Tuyet Vodak thought to himself as he walked, I thought I would never be able to see you again. But now there is hope. If that is the case, I cannot let that hope slip away. No matter where you are, even if it is in hell, I will chase you there. So wait for me, Hoa Lien. Sometime later, a large ship glided swiftly across the water. A figure stood inside the ship's cabin. He observed, pointed at the map, and said, "Not here. The only place left now is the South Sea." This person was none other than Tuyet Vodok, who was searching for his lover. Time passed in a flash. Before he knew it, he had been searching for his lover for 3 years and 5 months. Yet he could not find a single trace of her anywhere in the Central Plains. During that time, he had surpassed the transformation realm, reached the profound realm, and at the same time, underwent body reconstruction twice. He stared intently at the map of the South Sea. "Will you be there, Hoa Lien?" Every time he thought of his lover, he would unconsciously touch the necklace on his chest. He recalled a memory of when Hoa Lien was still alive. "How can this be? You do not have to go. Why do you want to do this?" Hoa Lien explained. "Father will also be at this negotiation. I am his daughter, so if I go, Father will surely understand what older brother wants." Tuyet Vodok shook his head firmly. "No, it could be a trap," Hoa Lien pleaded. "Just this once. I want to trust Father this time too. Please let me go, brother." Tuyet Vodok saw how determined she was and fell into deep thought. After a moment he sighed. "I understand, but in return, if you feel anything strange, do not look back, and you must return immediately." Hoa Lien nodded excitedly. "Yes, I know." She reached into her sleeve looking for something. "Also, you should take this." Tuyet Vodok was puzzled. "What is it?" Hoa Lien explained. "This is a memento that Mother left for me before she passed away. She said it has the power to help one return to the person who gave it. This necklace will lead me to you, brother, at any time. Don't worry, brother. I will absolutely never leave your side." Recalling this, Tuyet Vodok felt even more regretful. "Back then, I should have done everything I could to keep you with me." He was lost in his memories when suddenly a scream rang out from outside. "The waves are getting rough. Everyone hold on tight. Tie the rope to that, secure it." Tuyet Vodok came out from the ship's cabin, completely bewildered. Why are the waves suddenly so rough? As soon as he finished speaking, he was startled, turning his head to look to the side. There a tidal wave as high as a mountain range was rushing towards their ship. Tuyet Vodok did not dare to be careless, immediately deploying his protective chi aura and the Thousand Jin pendant technique. The ocean wave quickly crashed against the side of the ship. Tuyet Vodok relied on his supreme abilities, remaining completely unharmed. Model. But the crewmen with him were not so capable. They were scattered by the tsunami, continuously screaming for help. "Father, Mother, save me." More and more people were falling into the sea. "Oh no, Mother." Tuyet Vodok cursed inwardly. "Damn it. This cannot go on." He then unleashed another ultimate technique, which was void grasping. He used his internal energy to propel pieces of wood toward the people who were hit by the waves and thrown into the sea. They were struggling in the water, and upon seeing the wooden planks, it was like finding life in the face of death, and they scrambled to cling to them. Tuyet Vodok sighed in relief. This will have to do for now. At that moment, the old man beside him cried out in terror. It is coming again. This wave was even larger than the previous one, by countless times. Everyone on the boat was stunned by its sheer scale and frozen in place. We must withstand it at all costs. Tuyet Vodok thought, his face grim. The boat cannot take any more. If that is the case, there is only one way. Thinking this, he furiously channeled his internal energy. The people on the boat were stunned to see white mist suddenly rising. What is that? What is this cold energy? It is freezing. Tuyet Vodok's method was to freeze the entire tsunami. At that moment, the necklace on his chest began to glow intensely. With the necklace as the center, very quickly, a golden light erupted, covering the entire area of the sea. The golden light shot straight toward the tsunami in front of the boat's bow. A blinding light soared up to the heavens, making Tuyet Vodok unable to open his eyes and see clearly. What is happening? Tuyet Vodok's body also began to slowly rise. The tidal wave had now gradually dissipated. A rainbow also began to appear. The crew members on the ship were all extremely astonished. Impossible. What in the world is going on? The storm passed. A bright dawn appeared before everyone's eyes. After an unknown amount of time, Tuyet Vodok groggily awoke from his coma. Where's this place? It's so cramped. Am I in a carriage? Why am I here? I was clearly in the middle of the sea fighting, against a storm. Just then, terrified screams rang out from outside. He sat up with a start and looked outside. The screams are coming from over there. Over there, several giant hornets as large as mountains were chasing a few people. Not far from there, two sisters were also hiding fearfully under a tree canopy, warily watching the hornets. The two young men nearby tensely reassured them. "Don't be afraid, we will save you two." At that moment, a hornet near the carriage was suddenly sliced in half. The group of people gasped in shock. "It's the person from that carriage over there." "What in the world just happened?" Tuyet Vodak quickly emerged with an overwhelming aura. It looked like a forest somewhere in the Central Plains. His eyes suddenly narrowed. His attention fell upon the people opposite him, who were local tribespeople. What does this mean? It means I've traveled too far. The swarm of hornets in the air suddenly rushed forward in unison, wanting to attack him. Tuyet Vodak couldn't help but be alarmed when he saw them. He blocked the young man's attack. His jaw dropped in shock. Are those flies? But he quickly composed himself. What's with these Western region people and their flies? One of them flew towards him at great speed, but he easily dodged it by tilting his head. He then waved his hand to unleash, the ice god palm freezing it. The moment it was frozen, the fly's body instantly exploded, shattering in midair. How audacious for these lowly creatures to dare to attack me. This is truly unforgivable. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately shot forward. All the insects in the sky were then simultaneously frozen solid. The ice exploded in the air, creating countless tiny snowflakes that drifted down, forming a very unusual scene. After dealing with everything, Tuyet Vodak once again spoke nonchalantly. It seems that was enough to wipe them out. The people present were all shocked by this scene, their jaws agape as they stood frozen in place. The two sisters hiding in the bushes also came out. Their jaws dropped, unable to believe what they saw. Tuyet Vodak suddenly turned his head to look back. The middle-aged man in the lead approached, speaking to him in a strange language. "Greetings. I am Joel Edmund, leader of the Joel Caravan. Thank you for saving our caravan. May I ask the identity of this demonic swordsman?" Tuyet Vodak was stunned and thought to himself, "Is he thanking me?" After a moment of thought, he spoke. "I do not understand your language." "Can you speak the language of the Central Plains?" This time it was the other's turn to be stunned, looking at him in confusion. Tuyet Vodak sighed inwardly. "It seems they do not understand what I am saying at all." The group of people began to whisper among themselves. After a moment, Tuyet Vodak spoke once again. "So it seems no one here knows the Central Plains language. I must now find a way to explain everything." Just then another person hurriedly ran over. All eyes turned towards them. They tried to listen to what they were saying, but they could only see the middle-aged man nodding, and then he walked towards Tuyet Vodak. After a moment, Roel Edmund took out a ring. He held it out in front of Tuyet Vodak. He reached out his hand in confusion, a ring. He wondered what they were doing. Roel Edmund, immediately after he cast some kind of spell, to aid in translation. His strange and repulsive appearance could not help but make Tuyet Vodak feel a bit resigned. "What in the world is this?" After a moment, Roel Edmund spoke up again. "Now you can understand what I am saying." Tuyet Vodak was astonished. "You are doing this with that ring. So that is how you can speak the Central Plains language." Roel Edmund raised his hand and replied with a smile, "That is right. So the language you speak is the Central Plains language. In that case, I shall reintroduce myself. I am Roel Edmund, master of the Roel Merchant Caravan. Thank you for saving our caravan. I am unaware of your identity, magic swordsman." Tuyet Vodak stroked his chin thoughtfully. "I truly do not know what a magic swordsman is. But my name is Tuyet Vodak," Roel Edmund continued. "So you truly do not know what a magic swordsman is. People like you who use sword aura and magic are usually called magic swordsmen." Tuyet Vodak asked again, "What is magic?" Roel Edmund was startled to hear him ask this. How strange he had unleashed such ice earlier. Yet he claims to not know how to use magic. I truly do not understand where he came from. Now where should I begin? Tuyet Vodak saw him standing there lost in thought, began to lose patience, and shouted, "I have already asked you, so answer me quickly." Roel Edmund became even more frightened when he saw him about to attack. "He's crazy all right then. I just need to explain. Just enough for him to understand. Just don't let him go berserk. Thinking this, he calmed himself and spoke. All right, I will explain everything to you. First, you need to calm down. Soon dusk began to fall. Tuyet Vodok and Roll Edmund sat by the fire. After listening to his lengthy explanation, he finally had a realization, so that was it. The magic that you are referring to is called dark arts in Trung Nguyen. It seems there are still many things I do not know. Roll Edmund sighed inwardly in relief. Good, he has calmed down, he then asked. But where did you say Trung Nguyen is? Tuyet Vodok's expression changed. Are you asking about Trung Nguyen? Don't tell me that right now. You do not know where you are. Roll Edmund was confused. What do you mean? Tuyet Vodok looked into the distance and explained. You are standing on the land of Trung Nguyen, and yet you ask such a thing. Roll Edmund heard these words from him, and could only utter a few words in his heart. He really is crazy, he said to him. This place is not the Trung Nguyen you mentioned. It is the forest that leads to Bahan, the capital of the Dragon Kingdom. Tuyet Vodok was annoyed. Hey, old man, I'm telling you the truth. In my entire life, I have never heard of a kingdom named Dragon in this land of Trung Nguyen. Or are you just senile and spouting nonsense? Roll Edmund cursed inwardly. He's the one who's senile. He did not dare to curse out loud and instead explained gently. I am only 50, so I am not senile yet. I think you are the one who should be worried. You keep talking about Zhongyuan, but no one understands a thing. Tuyet Vodok did not dwell on this issue, but simply pointed behind him. All right, then I will ask the kid hiding. Behind that tree will that suffice? Joel Edmund looked at the boy with confusion. Why are you there, Leo? Tuyet Vodok turned to the boy and asked, Hey kid, you tell me. Is this the Dragon Kingdom or Zhongyuan? Hearing this, the boy was momentarily stunned, not knowing how to respond. Tuyet Vodok glanced at him coldly. What is wrong with you? Joel Edmund explained Leo does not understand what you are saying. Because only those who wear this ring can understand what you are saying. He handed the ring to him, silently feeling a sense of regret. It truly is a pity to lend him this item, but it cannot be helped. I cannot let him misunderstand me. As soon as Tuyet Vodok put on the ring, the language was translated. A magic circle immediately enveloped his body. He rejoiced inwardly. I can understand what these people are saying now. This magic is truly incredible. He then turned to Leo and asked, What is your name, kid? The boy answered without hesitation. My name is Leo, Tuyet Vodok continued. All right, I will ask you. Is this place the Dragon Kingdom or Zhongyuan? Leo asked in confusion, What kind of place is Zhongyuan? This is the forest that leads to Bahan, the capital of the Dragon Kingdom. Tuyet Vodok snapped, Are you as senile as that old man? Old man, did you make this kid say that? Is that right? Joel Edmund explained, Not at all. You can ask anyone in this caravan. Tuyet Vodok fell into deep thought. So he was not lying. Then this is not the land of the Central Plains. I have only just noticed. I was battling a fierce storm at sea. But when I opened my eyes, I was already in a carriage. So I have been cast into another dimension. Thinking this, he asked again, As you said, this place is not the Central Plains, but the Dragon Kingdom. At that moment, something unusual happened in his chest. What is happening? I feel a change in my Dantian. Roll Edmund, who was opposite him, asked again at this moment, Do you believe my words now? Tuyet Vodok was still lost in his thoughts. My aura has changed greatly now. There must have been some kind of change in my body. It was truly strange. Seeing him suddenly run off, Roll Edmund was startled and shouted loudly, Where are you going? Tuyet Vodok thought to himself, I need to look around and investigate further, to see where this pure aura is coming from. It is quite different from what I felt in the Central Plains. Then he flew straight up into the air, floating in the sky. Then he bent over and frantically channeled his energy. The frosty chi from his body frantically erupted with great violence. After a moment he was startled and thought to himself, The true chi accumulating in my Dantian has increased very rapidly. I do not understand how the environment here differs from the Central Plains for such a phenomenon to occur. I also do not know why I was lost and ended up in this dimension. I was trying to find Hoa Lin. What happened was because of the light from this necklace. Hoa Lin said that the power of this necklace would help the one who wears it to return to its master. So according to my deduction, I never expected to find a blade in this place. Perhaps I drifted here for the very reason of being able to meet her. Let's just believe that. She must be waiting for me somewhere. Meanwhile, Joel Edmund's group was gathered and discussing. We don't know where that demonic swordsman has gone. I really can't understand what he is doing. Soon Tuyet Vodok returned to their location. Is everyone gathered here? I have something I would like to ask you all. Joel Edmund replied. Go ahead and speak. On the surface he was calm, but inwardly he couldn't help but feel a little tense. He seemed somewhat different than before. Tuyet Vodok quickly asked, According to what you and that boy said, this is the Dragon Kingdom. Is that correct? Joel Edmund confirmed. That's right. We are on our way there. Just a little further, and we will be able to see the capital city Bahan of the kingdom. Tuyet Vodok asked again, So where is that capital? Before Joel Edmund could even reply, a kid beside him quickly spoke up first. You must have come down from the mountains. So you don't even know that, huh? This is the first time I have met someone as strange as you. Tuyet Vodok replied. It is true. I have not had contact with the outside world for a long time. Therefore, there are many unfamiliar things I am not yet used to. He thought to himself. This is the first time I have heard the name Dragon Kingdom. So if I want to go there, I will need to rely on these people for information. I only know vaguely that they are foreigners, and that this is a merchant caravan. The kid continued excitedly. You just need to know this is the Dragon Kingdom for now. You will find out about other things gradually later on. Come here, I will show you. Tuyet Vodok nodded in thanks the boy had told him. The boy called out to him, Please follow me. Tuyet Vodok followed him and asked, All right. So what is your name, kid? The boy smiled and replied, My name is Luffy. And what is your name? Joel Edmund stood behind his face full of confusion. Why did he suddenly become so approachable? I do not understand any of this at all. And so that night, Tuyet Vodok learned many things about this land, thanks to Luffy's guidance. His previous assumptions about these people were completely different. This world was a world whose existence he had never known of before. The land language and writing were also different from the Central Plains. In this place, besides the human race, there were also elves and dwarves, along with many other different races. But the most powerful was some kind of monster that had wings and could fly. It was quite strong, and furthermore, there were many portals for teleporting to many places. Mages with 5 magic circles were the only ones who could use the teleportation portals. When they wanted to teleport, they would recite a spell and then step into it. Then they would travel to their desired destination. The greater their magic, the farther they could travel. That kind of magic, I have absolutely no knowledge of what it is. The things in this world are too strange to me. I need to pay attention and learn more. Suddenly, he was startled and raised his head to look at the sky. But why are there 3 moons here? This world is too strange. It is completely different from my Central Plains. Now, my most important task is to find Hualien as quickly as possible. Hualien as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. Just then, someone shouted loudly, Savina, do not do that. Tuyet Vodok was also startled by the shout and turned his head. What is it? Is it over there? The woman named Savina shouted back. Why should I not? She held the other girl tightly by the neck and threatened. Do not come any closer or I will kill her. The frightened crowd pleaded Savina stop. Do not do this. When we get to the capital Bahan, we will find a cure. There are many mages there. Savina scoffed. You are lying to me, are you not? It is true there are many mages there. But how could we possibly have enough money to pay for a cure once the eggs of the killer beetles get inside a person? It is only a matter of time before they become a host for the killer beetles. How can that possibly be cured? The other person hesitated. Well, about that, Savina continued sobbing as she spoke. When the eggs hatch, the girl and I will be torn to pieces by them. Everyone knows that is what will happen. So just let the girl and I die and get it over with. At that moment, Tuyet Vodok came forward, telling her to stop. I see. So I understand the situation now. Seeing him suddenly take out a knife, the crowd could not help but panic. Magic swordsman, what do you intend to do? Tuyet Vodok smiled. I will save you both. So first put that sword down. Hearing this, Savina immediately dropped the sword. But why would you Tuyet Vodok cut in? That is enough. Come here, I will heal you. Joel Edmund walked over and asked in amazement. So, you know, healing magic as well. Tuyet Vodok glanced at him. I do not, but I know how to save them, so all of you should calm down. Seeing him so confident, the group could not contain their joy. That's wonderful, we are counting on you. Although we do not have much money, we will surely repay you for this favor. Tuyet Vodok pushed him away. I know now all of you step back. Let me treat them. Yes. Roel Edmund did not hesitate, immediately ordering the group to spread out. Tuyet Vodok quickly approached the two women. Don't be nervous, just relax. Although the two women were very nervous, they still nodded. Yes. Tuyet Vodok instructed them to close their eyes. After that, he channeled his internal energy into them. There really are larvae in their hearts. Let's take a look. After checking for another moment, his eyes immediately widened. Found it. He just sat there quietly, channeling true chi into the two women. Fortunately, the egg has not hatched yet. Now if I control my internal energy to burn the egg, without harming the heart, I can save them. With that in mind, he quickly focused on controlling his true chi. Little by little, it slowly seeped into the two women's hearts. After an unknown amount of time, he withdrew his hands. The two women woke up at the same time, letting out a breath. Tuyet Vodok stood up and smiled. It is done. Both women were shocked, finding it hard to believe. Is it true? Tuyet Vodok explained. I have destroyed all the assassin bug eggs, so the two of you can rest now. Roel Edmund's group stood to one side, also shocked to hear this. I can't believe it. Is it true? Are Annie and Savina all right? Is it all over, Sir Demon Swordsman? Tuyet Vodok confirmed, of course. There are no side effects, so rest assured. The two women came before him to thank him. Thank you so much, Sir Demon Swordsman. You are truly our savior. The entire group bowed to him in unison. Thank you very much. Tuyet Vodok then walked over and leaned against a tree. He looked up at the sky and sighed. Today was truly a long day. He raised the necklace to look at it. He thought to himself, I miss her even more today. I hope we meet again soon, Hualien. A few days later, the group finally arrived outside the capital city. Why is it so hot? Tuyet Vodok was drenched in sweat. It is so stuffy. Luffy came up beside him and took out a water flask. Demon Swordsman, please make this ice cold. Tuyet Vodok nodded. All right, thanks, kid. He took the water flask and thought to himself, it seems a bit warm. If I release a little ice energy, it might cool things down. After drinking some water, Luffy asked again, it is really hot today, is it not? Are you okay, Demon Swordsman? Tuyet Vodok replied, at least it is better than yesterday. Luffy was startled. Your water flask is making a strange sound. Oh my, why is it so cold? Tuyet Vodok handed the ice-cold water flask of his to the boy, telling him to drink up. Luffy took the flask, endlessly amazed. Oh my, it is so cold. The boy immediately raised the flask and took a long gulp. His expression immediately became one of extreme bliss and contentment. Tuyet Vodok smiled, refreshing, is it not? Luffy came to his senses and said to him, Demon Swordsman, can you chill this whole water bottle? For me too. Tuyet Vodok thought to himself, all right, this kid has helped me quite a bit, so the least I can do is help him. He then waved his hand, urging the cold energy to chill the boy's water flask. There you go. The boy held the ice-cold water flask. He was so happy his smile could not be contained. Very quickly, Tuyet Vodok's expression became very unsightly, because the entire group came over with their water flasks, asking him to chill them. Please help us. Please help us chill our water. The entire crowd stared at him with expectant eyes. Tuyet Vodok thought with resignation, although it is not difficult, continuing to fulfill their request will become more troublesome. Then a person approached and asked doubtfully, What is the matter, Sir Edmund? Someone explain to me. What is happening here? Luffy quickly explained. The demonic swordsman made me some cool water. The others saw it too, so they asked him for help. The crowd immediately started buzzing. What cool water? Roel Edmund also glanced toward Tuyet Vodok and called out, Sir Demonic Swordsman, I would also like some cool water. Please help me as well. Tuyet Vodok saw how serious he was, and thinking it was a great matter was momentarily stunned. After a moment he sighed. Very well, give me your water flask. He thought to himself as he channeled the frost chi. I have to travel with this merchant caravan to learn more about this world. I have already solved the language barrier issue, so giving them some cool water is not a big deal. Roel Edmund happily drank the cool water, thanking him repeatedly. After finishing his drink, he was suddenly taken aback. This is strange young demonic swordsman. How are you able to create ice? Tuyet Vodok asked in return, why do you ask? Is something the matter? Roel Edmund's eyes lit up. It is absolutely perfect. I have tried all kinds of ice from across the 6 continents, but I have never tasted any as good as this. It is on a divine level. No, it is even more than that. Tuyet Vodok was skeptical. Is this ice really that delicious? I only froze the water. How could it taste any different? What are you talking about? Roel Edmund explained. When creating ordinary ice, one uses the ice attribute of mana in the air to freeze water directly, or by absorbing moisture from the air. During this process, the purity of the mana mixes with the water, creating its flavor. However, each mage has their own unique mana characteristics, so creating pure ice is very difficult. But your ice possesses an astonishing purity. This is what makes the water taste so good. Tuyet Vodok nodded. I see, so that is how it is. He glanced at the others and thought to himself. So that is why they reacted so enthusiastically. I never thought something as simple as ice could elicit such expressions. I almost felt pity for them. Since I am in a good mood, I will make some more. He was about to channel his power to continue making ice, when Roel Edmund suddenly spoke up. You there, magic swordsman, I have a proposal for you. A few days later inside the city. Hold it steady. Carry it carefully to the back of the shop. Outside, people were bustling with work. Inside, Tuyet Vodok was not idle either, frantically making chilled water. He continuously created barrel after barrel of cold ice. Seeing the piles of ice, the crowd applauded and cheered in unison. He is truly a magic swordsman. This is amazing. Flashing back to before. After hearing Roel Edmund's proposal, Tuyet Vodok was in utter disbelief. What did you say? You mean you want me to sell ice? Roel Edmund nodded. Yes, that is correct. Usually a 4th level mage is needed to create ice like this. Usually a 4th level mage is needed to create ice like this. Therefore, we can use your abilities to make a fortune in our business. Tuyet Vodok thought to himself. It is true. No wonder he kept praising me like that. It makes sense for him to do so, because the merchant guild is currently too weak. But of course I must be compensated for my work. Should I draw up a contract now? Thinking this, he made his suggestion. Then how about 70-30? We will split the profits from selling the stones 70-30. How does that sound? Roel Edmund thought to himself. 70-30 would be fine. But since the stones are always in short supply and at that speed, my business would take a slight loss. I need to negotiate for a more reasonable arrangement. Thinking this, he spoke up. Selling the stones is not simple, as it requires a lot of manpower. Carriages, laborers, storefronts, and so on. We also need mages to keep the stones from melting. So with that deal, I would be at a loss. Therefore, I have a proposal. Before he could even finish speaking, Tuyet Vodok cut him off, changing it to a 60-40 split. This made Roel Edmund feel extremely surprised. He agreed that easily. He then immediately took out a paper to draw up the contract. Recalling this matter, Tuyet Vodok thought to himself, very well, I can learn much by traveling with the merchant guild anyway. And if the business is successful, I can also get more information on the person I am looking for. Just then, someone came rushing in from outside. Sir Edmund, please come outside for a moment. Seeing him in such a hurry, everyone was surprised, wondering what was happening. A large crowd was gathering outside. Are you selling rock candy here? Sell me some stones. I am Anon from Narum. I want to sign a contract to buy stones from the merchant guild. Roel Edmund went out toward the crowd to calm them. Please, everyone, calm down. Seeing the crowd still shouting frantically, he could not help but feel utterly helpless. They probably would not listen to what he said. Just then, a voice carrying a powerful and imposing aura rang out. All of you be silent. The one who spoke to suppress them was none other than Tuyet Vodok. He spoke to the crowd. Be quiet and listen to me. If you continue to make noise, you will die. Everyone was affected by the terrifying pressure emanating from his body, which made them frightened, and they all nodded their heads. Roel Edmund then once again spoke to the crowd. We only sell stones in large quantities, so we are not selling to anyone buying small amounts. We will sell them individually later, but at present, we do not have the manpower to do that. The crowd was extremely displeased to hear this. How can this be possible? We traveled a great distance to come here and buy stones. So, sir, could you be flexible and sell us just a little? Seeing them still trying, To haggle like this, his expression once again turned ice cold as he stared intently at the crowd. Seeing his attitude, the crowd had no other choice but to leave. It was useless coming here. This is truly frustrating. Tuyet Vodok smiled and waved goodbye to them. Everyone please wait until next time. Roel Edmund also spoke up. Anyone else who wants to buy in large quantities, please form a line. Very quickly 3 people came forward. I am from the Mage Merchant Guild. I am Benjamin, the steward of Count Slave. I am from Luan. Roel Edmund was secretly startled upon hearing their introductions. The Mage Merchant Guild is a large merchant guild, and then there is the Count's family. The ceremonial gift is already held in high regard by the royal family. This will earn a lot of money. Let's see how I can negotiate with them. This profit is all thanks to the magic swordsman, although I have not been able to revive the merchant guild yet. But at this rate, it will be restored sooner or later. With this in mind, he then spoke to Tuyet Vodok. If you are tired, you may go and rest for a while. Tuyet Vodok was puzzled. Is the work done already? Roel Edmund replied, not yet, but I can handle it. Tuyet Vodok turned and headed inside. Then I will go and rest. Roel Edmund thought to himself, I can certainly handle the business matters, but for creating the ice I will have to rely on him. I will revive the merchant guild and make it more prosperous than before in order to avenge my family. I must do everything I can to take revenge on that Duke Acarus, the one who brought misery to my merchant guild. Until that is done, I will not stop. Therefore, for now, I must rely on him, the magic swordsman. If we succeed, I will be eternally grateful to you. Tuyet Vodok returned to his room, lay on the bed and sighed. This is truly tiring. If the business goes well, I will have some money. Then finding Lien Hoa will be easier. Just at that moment there was a knock on the door. It startled him and he sat up. Who is it? It is me, Savina. Hearing this, Tuyet Vodok was secretly pleased. Is it time to eat already? He immediately told her to enter. Seeing what was in her hands, he could not help but become excited. Is that what this is? This is the ice dessert I like so much. It is made from shaved ice with fruit. It is a dish that Savina invented herself. He thanked her. It is nothing, sir. Please go ahead and eat. After she had left, Tuyet Vodok immediately picked up the spoon. All right, time to dig in. It is so refreshingly cold. All the sweetness just melts in your mouth. The Joel Merchant Guild's business did very well thanks to this before. Now I understand why they needed so much ice. In the blink of an eye, all 8 tubs of ice cream were completely gone with nothing left. Even after finishing it, I still crave more. All right, I'll go get it myself. Everyone has their own things to do anyway. As soon as he stepped outside, he heard the sound of an argument. Why is it so noisy? Savina stood by the stall and spoke to everyone. Everyone please form a line. A customer laughed loudly. A mere merchant girl like you, what right do you have to speak to nobles like us? Tuyet Vodok grew angry inwardly. Who are these bastards? Those men were still being extremely aggressive with Savina. It seems you don't know who we are. Stop talking and bring out this thing called ice cream or whatever. Hurry up! We followed the rumors all the way here. If it's not delicious, you had better be prepared. Savina's expression turned serious. The Joel Merchant Guild does not sell ice cream to those who cut in line. So please understand. The young man angrily slammed his hand on the table and shouted, Are you saying that nobles like us also have to wait in line? You commoner. Just standing with your kind is annoying enough for me. And yet you're still telling us to wait in line. You must have a death wish, don't you? Savina remained extremely resolute. She was determined not to back down. Noble or not, you must wait in line. The young man became even more furious. What the hell did you just say? Are you looking down on the nobility? Savina thought to herself. If they dare to lay a hand on me, the magic swordsman will surely help me. Thinking of this, she became even more fearless. Looking down on you? You are the one trying to be overbearing. I am only following the rules. The young man was provoked by her to the point of gritting his teeth, grinding them in fury. He could no longer hold back and drew his sword. You bitch, are you tired of living? Despite the sword's tip pointing at her face, Savina remained completely unafraid. Just as that young man was about to do something, he was stopped by the person beside him. Do not act so rashly. Do you wish to lower your own dignity? After advising his companion, he walked over to speak with Savina. We came to try the ice cream here. Savina faced him, feeling an inescapable chill in her heart. What is this cold gaze? My heart feels as if it has been frozen solid. Just as she was about to say something, the young man spoke again in a cold voice. I do not like to wait long, so hurry up and bring it out. Crushed by his aura, her entire body began to shake violently. Please wait a moment. Seeing her being threatened into submission, Edmund immediately ran out from inside. Savina, wait a moment. The Joel Merchant Guild does not sell ice cream to people who cut in line. Have you forgotten, kid? Savina came to her senses, bowing her head in apology. I am sorry, Tuyet Vodok thought to himself. It seems there is some conflict between them that is making the atmosphere so tense. After a moment he spoke to send them away. Please leave. I cannot tolerate any more disregard for the rules of the Merchant Guild. At that, the two young men behind him stepped forward. How audacious! How dare you insult a nobleman? Joel Edmund remained very calm, showing no fear whatsoever. It seems you are mistaken about something. The reason I am not selling you ice cream is not just because you cut in line. Hearing this, they all had looks of confusion. They exchanged glances. After a moment, the young man in the lead spoke up. Then what is the reason? Did he just mention Duke Ikaros? The young man in the lead asked with suspicion. How do you know my father? Wait a moment. You look rather familiar. Those eyes, I understand now. You must be the only one left from the Joel Merchant Guild. Isn't that right? The two young men accompanying him, when they saw this smile of his, could not help but break out in a cold sweat. That was the smile Justin wore when he was angry. The young man reached for his sword and drew it. For the crime of daring to insult a noble, you will pay with your life. Having said that, he swung his sword without hesitation. Faced with this, Joel Edmund could only grit his teeth and accept his fate, unable to even avenge his family. It is truly infuriating. But unexpectedly he waited for a long time. Yet the opponent's blade still had not struck him. When he opened his eyes, he saw Tuyet Vodok standing in front of him, blocking the longsword for him. The opponent's blade slashed down on Tuyet Vodok's arm, but it did not cause even the slightest injury to him. He just flicked his arm slightly, and the young man was forced back. The young man could not help but shout in anger. You bastard, how dare you do that? You must have a death wish, don't you? Tuyet Vodok scratched his ear and sighed quietly. I was just planning to get some ice cream. I didn't expect this. We simply told him that we would not sell ice cream to those who cut in line, and he immediately drew his sword to kill someone. This is truly unreasonable. Thinking this, he began to curse. A brat like you truly has no manners. The young man saw that he actually dared to insult him. Nuke Min was endlessly shocked. What Tuyet Vodok continued? Let me teach you some basic etiquette. The young man's eyes were filled with unconcealed killing intent. This bastard. He quickly channeled his true chi into the blade of his sword. Then he rushed towards Tuyet Vodok. I will kill you. A sword strike carrying immense power was unleashed, causing dust and stones to fly everywhere. Tuyet Vodok was completely unconcerned, still standing there calmly, even as his opponent struck right before him. No matter how many times the young man slashed his sword, they would ultimately be dodged by Tuyet Vodok by a hair's breadth. Oh my, how scary. So skilled for one so young. But it is a shame that no matter how many times you swing your sword, you cannot touch me. In principle, righteousness is always accompanied by reason, which means harmony. If your actions represent the nobility, it means the nobility are all ill-mannered. However, I am not a petty man, so today I will teach you some manners. The young man was so angry his eyes became bloodshot. You bastard! How dare you speak to a nobleman that way? Tuyet Vodok replied, say what you will, but manners are what teach you respect. Looking at the young man before him, he could not help but feel a little nostalgic. This reminds me of my time in the Central Plains. The bond between myself and Hualien made me forget the common principles of morality. In the end, everything comes down to the survival of the fittest. He swung his hand, unleashing the invisible finger projectile. The young man's sword arm was immediately hit, becoming a bloody mess on his wrist. A hole as large as an egg was directly gouged out. He collapsed to the ground in agony, screaming endlessly. My wrist? No matter how he screamed, Tuyet Vodok just stood there calmly, his face devoid of emotion. Joel Edmund then exclaimed in horror, what just happened? The two young men who were with the other one rushed over to help him. He looked at Tuyet Vodok with terrified eyes. Seeing him walking this way, the two young men, despite being very afraid, still stood in front of their companion to shield him. "Stop! If you get any closer, I will strike," no matter how they shouted. Tuyet Vodok continued to walk calmly. His eyes were cold, not even glancing at them. He only focused on the other young man. "Why did you get up instead of staying down?" The young man stood up and told his two friends to move aside. Seeing him dare to face him directly again, Tuyet Vodok burst out laughing. "How interesting playing with this kid is entertaining. If you want to continue playing, I will indulge you. Let's see how long you can last." Before the disbelieving eyes of the other two young men, he raised his arm, which was covered in fresh blood, wanting to fight Tuyet Vodok to the death. But before he could even do anything, he was sent flying by a flick of Tuyet Vodok's hand. The two young men ran over in panic, wanting to help him up. "Justin, are you all right? Please wake up. Your wrist is in bad shape." "This is impossible." Tuyet Vodok, from a distance, was also extremely puzzled. "Although I only use the strength of a first-rate martial artist, he seems weaker than I thought. Should I stop? I still don't have all the information about this place, so I can't rashly kill him." Thinking this, he held back. "All right, I cannot just kill people recklessly." Justin asked tensely, "Who are you? Who do you think you are to act like this? Who do you think you are to act like this? Who do you think you are to act like this? Do you not know who I am? How dare you treat me, Justin von Ekaros, like this?" Seeing him scream so frantically, Tuyet Vodok could not help but sigh to himself. This man is a stubborn one. Instead of reflecting on himself, he is filled with resentment for others. "Should I just kill him?" That is what I was thinking. But doing so would make me no different from them. Another young man stepped forward again, pointing his sword at Tuyet Vodok. "This scoundrel. Do you think you can escape the consequences of harming a nobleman?" Justin yelled as well. "Do not ignore me. Answer me, you scoundrel." Tuyet Vodok was still lost in thought. "Everything here is still quite new to me. Therefore I must be more careful. But I also need to teach them a proper lesson." With this thought, he picked up a wooden stick. The group of men was startled when they saw this. What just happened? Is that man a magic swordsman? Justin stood there silently, not saying a word. Tuyet Vodok continued to smile, unleashing a cold aura. It made Justin tense and break out in a sweat. "What is this?" Tuyet Vodok continued to advance. At this point, Justin could no longer restrain himself and screamed. "Do not come any closer, I said. Do not come any closer." Tuyet Vodok paid no mind, continuing forward with a wide smile. Overwhelmed by his aura, the three men fell backwards to the ground in terror. Cold sweat poured down like rain. This cannot be happening. Tuyet Vodok raised the wooden stick. "For trash like you, a beating is the best medicine. So listen to me." He lectured them relentlessly as he beat them. Behave and go binge the story on the Google review channel. Just like that, he tortured and beat the three young men. The beating lasted from afternoon until dusk, continuing until the sun set behind the mountains, giving way to the endless night. That the sounds of the beating finally stopped. The three young men were now as obedient as puppies kneeling on the spot. "I am sorry I was wrong, so please stop. We were wrong, please spare us. We will not dare to do it again." Tuyet Vodok waved his hand. "What was that? I cannot hear anything." Justin gritted his teeth in anger, thinking to himself, "I will surely kill you. I will chop off that arrogant head of yours and stomp on it until my anger is satisfied." Though he thought this, he did not dare refuse to comply. He shouted loudly, "I was wrong. I will never make a mistake like today's again." Tuyet Vodok laughed coldly to himself. "Ha ha, I knew it. No matter where it is, there is nothing a good beating cannot solve." With this in mind, he spoke to them. "Be careful from now on, understand?" The group with Dao Heo Edmund on the side were all so moved by this scene that their eyes welled up with tears. "The demonic swordsman is amazing." "Thank you very much, sir." The next day, at a certain luxurious noble estate, a group of nobles was sitting inside discussing the stories on the Hugo Review channel. Count Slay, holding a letter in his hand, spoke up. "A few days ago, we received a report from our spies in the kingdom of Sebia." King Tamirov III nodded. "Speak, Count Slay." Count Slay quickly explained. "The kingdom of Sebia has succeeded in reclaiming the northern lands, Blackstone in addition. It seems the kingdom of Hazara is also trying to develop a region in the Sahara Desert. Duke Sergio von Icarus asked doubtfully. In the far reaches of the Saraha Desert. What? Isn't that place too dangerous to be inhabited? Because of the number of monsters. So does the Hazen Kingdom have some special method? Count Slave replied, we cannot be certain yet. But we suspect that it seems as though Anos has gotten involved. The king was startled upon hearing this. Anos. Count Crush asked tensely, is that true? Count Slave nodded gravely. Surely not Baron Arista spoke up. You mean Ainos? One of the 10 grand sword masters of the continent. I heard he refuses any sum of money, no matter how large. Instead, he simply wanders across the entire continent, unaffiliated with any faction. Why would a man like that fall into the hands of the kingdom of Hazen? Count Crush added, if not for money, then could it be that he has fallen for someone in Hazen? Count Slave said grimly, perhaps so. Everyone grew tense. Is it true? The king asked doubtfully. He has fallen for someone. Who is she, Count? Slave replied. She is someone that you all know quite well. The younger sister of the current king, Layer II of Hazen Princess Daphne. The king was astonished. Are you saying that Layer II, who considers his sister his most precious asset, was willing to trade her away? Ha, it seems that cunning king has finally shown his true face. If that is true, then the Hazen Kingdom currently possesses 2 grand sword masters. Count Slave nodded. That is so, and they will surely expand their territory, a goal at which they have continuously failed since. Player became king. In the east, the kingdom of Hazen is expanding its territory, while in the south, the kingdom of Serbia is developing its lands, and on the other side of the northern sea, the Java Empire is also expanding its territory. We cannot remain idle. At this thought, the king spoke. What should we do? I wish to hear your opinions. Duke Icaros spoke up. In my humble opinion, expanding our territory would also be of great benefit to us. The king was doubtful, but we do not have any suitable land for expansion. Are you suggesting that we cross the Laza Mountains to the north? Duke Icaros nodded. That is correct, as there are no other options left. Expanding to the north is extremely difficult, and even if we were to succeed, the entire northern region is covered by ice and snow, so all efforts would be in vain. For that very reason, advancing to the north would mean escaping the power struggle. That is why it is natural for everyone to be hesitant. Soon someone will be sent to the north to discuss the matter of territorial expansion. At this thought, the king spoke. Let us end the meeting here, and we will continue at another time. Duke Icaros frowned, thinking to himself, His Majesty is hiding something. The group of nobles then rose and left in unison. 2 people, the king and Count Slave, then held a discussion together in a certain room that was secret. Count, have you made any mistakes recently? Count Slave replied. I have not, the king continued. Then it must be the Duke scheming again, yes. For the past 15 years, he has continuously sent those who opposed him to the north. Count Slave replied, It is all my fault. The king sighed. Do not say that. You are the only subordinate I can still trust. Count Slave nodded. Yes, your majesty. The king asked again, never mind that. Recently there has been a rumor that a new type of ice is being sold in the capital. Do you know anything about this? Count Slave made a sound of realization. Do you mean the ice candy being sold by the Dao Ao Merchant Guild? The king was startled. Ice candy? Count Slave explained, yes. It is different from ordinary ice. It is very sweet, which is why it has that name. The king asked again, How long will that merchant guild be open? Count Slave replied, I am quite sure they will be open until very late, your majesty. He thought to himself, It seems his majesty is interested in this ice candy. If that is the case, then that is good. Thinking this, he spoke. I am preparing to go on a secret inspection. Would you like to stop by along the way? Pleased to hear this, the king laughed. He was extremely delighted, just as I expected. You understand me very well. The count also laughed. Serving your wishes is my duty, your majesty. The king, his face full of anticipation, asked, Then when will you go out for the inspection? The scene changes to the Dao Ao Merchant Guild. Luffy and the other kids were now all gathered in front of Tuyet Vodok. Please teach us magic. Tuyet Vodok was eating ice cream. Hearing this, Tuyet Vodok was stunned. Savina continued, We apologize for coming to see you so suddenly like this. And we know not everyone can learn magic, but we are forced to learn it. Ani also spoke up. That's right, Sir Magic Swordsman. If the merchant caravan gets into trouble like last time again, it will be very dangerous. I promise to train very hard, so please teach me." Tuyet Vodok put his hand down. "Hey kid, your desire to learn is commendable, but as I've said before, I am no sorcerer. What I am using is—" he was saying when Luffy interrupted him. "Isn't it just like martial arts? You've said so before." Tuyet Vodok nodded yes. "You are right, kid. In any case, what I use is not magic, but martial arts. To be precise, it is called the White Snow. Divine Palm, I don't know magic, so how could I possibly teach you all?" Leo offered an idea. "Then could you teach us martial arts?" Tuyet Vodok was startled. "Wait, what on earth are you talking about, kid?" Savina's group also agreed in unison. "That's a really good idea. I want to learn martial arts too. Please, Sir Magic Swordsman, please teach us," Tuyet Vodok thought to himself. Those serious eyes, they show a strong determination to achieve a goal, just like me when I was a child. He unconsciously recalled the past. "Please teach me martial arts. While in such a hurry to find Hoa Lien, I cannot just casually accept disciples. However, these children, they also want to protect someone. On top of that, they have also helped me in many ways, even if they do not know much. But according to the rules, I am not allowed to teach the martial arts of the North Sea Ice Palace indiscriminately. But this is another world." Savina saw him sitting there lost in thought, and began to plead once more. "Please," Tuyet Vodok replied. "Let me think about it. Come back here tomorrow at this time. I will give you all an answer then." Hearing this, the children were all filled with anticipation. Luffy asked excitedly, "Are you really going to teach us?" Leo also spoke up. "Thank you, sir. I would not forget this favor even in death." Tuyet Vodok helplessly called out to them, "Wait, you kids, that is not what I meant." But the children did not care. They were all excitedly running outside. "This is great. We are going to learn martial arts too. All right. Have a good night, sir." Tuyet Vodok stood there stunned. How did things turn out this way? "Oh well, I will figure it out later. I wonder if, when I was their age, I was also like this." Master must have had a hard time. Children are truly carefree. He walked to the window and looked out startled. What is that? The clash of metal at this hour. Is there no time to rest? Outside in the forest, several people were fighting. The ones surrounded were two people, a count and a king. The count stood protectively in front of the king. He thought to himself, "Can I hold out until reinforcements arrive? Who would have thought we would be ambushed while going out for ice candy?" As he was lost in thought, he suddenly sensed an immense heat radiating from behind. He hastily turned his head to look. There a mage was frantically chanting, "Firefall!" Countless streams of scorching flames immediately shot towards the count and the king. The count could not dodge, because behind him was the king. A powerful explosion erupted immediately after. The king behind him shouted anxiously, "Colton!" He hurriedly ran into the flames, searching for his subordinate. The count, having blocked the opponent's previous attack, was now clearly struggling. "Your Majesty, my apologies." The king was worried. "But your hand is bleeding." The count paid it no mind and continued speaking. "This is an emergency, so please forgive me." The king nodded. "I understand, do not worry," the count thought to himself. "They have a mage. Their clothes are too similar, so I cannot tell them apart." At this thought he shouted loudly, "Stay calm and regroup." The guards immediately reformed their ranks, preparing to fight. On the opposing side, their leader also shouted orders. "Attack again, show no mercy. Everyone behead that noble scum. Heh, that is my reward." The count wasted no words, and struck with extreme speed, instantly taking the life of the man who just spoke. The remaining men, seeing this, their eyes immediately turned red with rage. They all rushed forward at once, aiming to attack him from behind. The count reacted swiftly, turning and swinging his sword to block. The long swords from both sides quickly clashed. "It does not matter. You are going to die anyway." The count's thoughts raced. Magic. It took down many of our people earlier. These bastards have no intention of letting us live. If we lose, this is the end. But for the kingdom, I must protect His Majesty at all costs. Seeing that sorcerer about to cast another spell, he could not help but curse. "Damn it, more magic!" He shouted a warning, "Magic is coming. Everyone protect His Majesty at all costs." The sorcerer laughed loudly. "Ha ha, it is too late." Just then, from high in the air, a blast of ice struck the sorcerer directly, extinguishing all of his flames. Everyone present was taken by surprise at this scene. A young man from the assassin's side shouted loudly, "Who is it?" Tuyet Vodok, hiding on a tree, laughed. "Oh my, have I been discovered." He immediately leaped into the air. Before the group could understand what was happening, he had already appeared behind them, striking several of them on the back of the neck. I was just planning to take a stroll and admire the moon, but I heard the commotion coming from here, so I came to have a look. The young man turned his head in alarm. When did he even appear there? Tuyet Vodok did not attack immediately, but looked at him and said, "Let us end this quickly before the ice cream melts." The young man's face grimaced, thinking to himself that he had missed all of his opponent's movements. This man is truly no ordinary person. He is only a little flustered because he does not know what is happening. In reality, he is far superior to us. Then I must assassinate the king as quickly as possible, and then get out of here. Tuyet Vodok looked at the weapon in his hand. His interest piqued. "Oh, what is that?" That young man quickly swung his blade toward his neck. "Leave this one to me. The rest of you go and kill the king." As this strike was unleashed, a blinding white light erupted, making it impossible for anyone to see the situation clearly. When the white light dissipated, Tuyet Vodok could be seen holding an ice sword. "Then I shall also use the Tuyet Lan of the North Sea Dragon Palace to play with you. Come on, come over here, little one." The young man was provoked to anger, to the point of grinding his teeth. This bastard! He became frenzied once more. He charged towards Tuyet Vodok. "Do not even think about leaving here alive." Tuyet Vodok did not seem to care. He still smiled with great excitement. "Very well, if you insist. Then I have no choice but to oblige you." A dazzling white light erupted once again. The young man's attack was again met by Tuyet Vodok and blocked with incredible ease. He did not give up swinging his saber once more, no matter how fast he attacked. Tuyet Vodok still narrowly and easily dodged it. After a while, he drew his dual sabers. "You damned little rat! Just die." Tuyet Vodok gracefully sidestepped, dodging his attack. Then he struck his back with his palm. The young man took the palm strike and immediately let out a grunt. This time Tuyet Vodok no longer dodged, but swung his sword to counterattack. This time it was his turn to attack relentlessly, while the young man struggled to defend himself. Very quickly, the young man was pushed back, finding himself in an extremely dangerous situation. He finally had no way to dodge anymore. His head was grabbed by Tuyet Vodok's hand. Tuyet Vodok forcefully pushed his head down, smashing it hard against the ground. After dealing with him, the corners of his mouth curled up again, filled with amusement. He then stood there silently and raised his head to look at the remaining people. The king asked his subordinate slave with doubt, "What in the world is going on?" Slave replied, "We should retreat for now, your majesty." The king was startled to hear that. He could barely believe his own ears. That person is the hope of our kingdom. Meanwhile, the young assassins were also in discussion. "Captain Marion, is he a swordsman?" Tuyet Vodok then began to curse aloud once more. "You damn bastards. This is all your fault. Because of you, the rain melted all of my ice cream." It turns out he was upset about his ice cream bar, the one he was halfway through eating in his room. Hearing this, the men all looked on with confused expressions. Looking at each other, they thought ice cream. Tuyet Vodok gritted his teeth and shouted again. "I will let you know what happens when an ice cream gets angry, just how terrifying it can be. I will count to 3. Anyone still daring to stand here after I finish counting should prepare to die." The assassins sneered without fear. "Nonsense. Do not be afraid of him. There are more of us after all. That's right, he is all talk." The group of men then rushed toward Tuyet Vodok all at once. They charged forward. "Shut your mouth, you bastard." Tuyet Vodok paid no attention, still standing there counting. Very quickly he was surrounded on all sides, pinned by a dense wall of swords and blades. They struck just as he counted to 3. It seemed as though he would not be able to react in time and would be stabbed to death. But in that critical moment, he managed to deploy his body-protecting chi. The assassin's blades could not pierce. Through his body-protecting chi, they were stunned. A barrier. Tuyet Vodok raised his sword. An oppressive cold energy also spread forth from it. "Now then, don't blame me for what happens. Now then, don't blame me for what happens." A powerful sword strike immediately descended. All the men surrounding him None of them could react in time, and were instantly pierced and killed by ice crystals erupting from the ground. The Count and his men watched this scene from a distance. All of them were stunned, their mouths agape. This cannot be happening. Tuyet Vodok finally let out a breath. My revenge is complete. Seeing him leap away, the king shouted loudly, "Hey, wait!" No matter how they called out, Tuyet Vodok did not stop. The Count sighed. He is gone. The king ordered him, "Slave, you must find that man for me." Slave placed a hand on his chest and replied solemnly, "Your Majesty can trust in me." The scene changes to another location. Roel Edmund was astonished after hearing his subordinate's report, learning magic. The other person nodded in confirmation. "Yes, sir," Roel Edmund spoke again. "Magic is not something one can simply learn. Do not tell me the one teaching the children is a magic swordsman." The other person replied, "That is correct. I and the others also want to learn magic." But for some reason, the magic swordsman only accepted those 4 kids. As he said this, he looked at Roel Edmund with a start. An obscure, gloomy aura was radiating from him. Is that so? He looked at him thinking to himself, is he tired from having too much work lately? Roel Edmund was inwardly delighted. In this world, many people want to learn magic, but very few can actually learn it. It seems good fortune has found the children. Thinking of this, he immediately asked, "Where are the children learning? Take me there at once." Ho ho. Perhaps the day my merchant guild can spread far and wide, he will arrive sooner than I thought. A moment later, under a certain tree, Tuyet Vodok said with confusion, "What in the world are you talking about?" Roel Edmund laughed and replied, "I knew you would react this way, ha ha." Tuyet Vodok was not in the mood to joke with him again, asking, "What do you mean?" Roel Edmund answered, "I heard, the magic swordsman is teaching magic to our children." Tuyet Vodok sighed inwardly. It seems the people in the merchant group have been whispering to each other about this. Roel Edmund was so moved he began to cry. "I am truly grateful to you. I do not know with a favor like this how I could ever repay you." Just then another person walked up behind. "Tuyet Vodok!" Roel Edmund looked at him in confusion. "What is it, Henry?" The man spoke to Tuyet Vodok. "A visitor is here for the magic swordsman." Roel Edmund was very surprised to hear this. A visitor. A young man approached, clasping his hands, his eyes shining as he looked at Tuyet Vodok. "Sir Magic Swordsman." Tuyet Vodok did not even bother to look. He said nonchalantly, "Go back now." The young man knelt down crying. "Please, sir, do not be like this. Please have mercy on this humble servant. His Highness said that if I cannot bring you back today, then I should not show my face again." Tuyet Vodok felt annoyed as the man hugged his leg. "What does that have to do with me?" Roel Edmund stood to the side, thinking to himself, His Highness, could it be that the king already knows about the existence of the magic swordsman? The young man, despite how annoyed Tuyet Vodok was, still clung on tightly, refusing to let go. "Please, sir, have pity on this poor soul. Please do not refuse His Majesty's invitation any longer." Tuyet Vodok pulled his leg back and snorted coldly. "Let go of me. Do you come here every day just to bother others? Stop wasting your efforts. Go back now." The helpless young man wailed there in despair. "Sir Demon Swordsman." Tuyet Vodok sighed to himself as he walked. There were no clues to be found about Hualien. Instead, I keep running into these people all day. He raised his hand to the necklace on his neck. His mind unconsciously recalled his time in the Central Plains. Unacceptable. I have seized all of Jiangbei in the past 3 years. If I just wait a little longer, I can advance into the Central Plains. And yet you dare tell me to negotiate with the people from the Martial Arts Alliance. Those cunning people. The person opposite him calmly explained, "This subordinate believes that we should show them now that the North Sea Ice Palace does not oppress anyone with force. Of course, they will not believe us even if we say so, and we will once again have to display our strength. At that time, this subordinate will take the lead." After listening, Tuyet Vodok smiled. "I understand, I believe in you. But if they refuse to cooperate, tell them to be prepared." The other person laughed loudly. "Ha ha, that is just like you, Palace Master." After that, while on the way to meet the people from the Martial Arts Alliance, to negotiate, he met the love of his life. That person was none other than Hualien. That was the best day of his life. Every time he recalled this, the corners of his mouth would unconsciously turn up in a smile. Right now I only need to think of Hoa Lian. There's no need to be overly sensitive to every little thing. But at the very least I need to have a plan. To deal with them. He left unconsciously walking toward Luffy's group. They were sitting on the ground meditating and cultivating. Seeing him approach, Luffy immediately called out to him, "Master." Tuyet Vodok looked at them, smiled, and thought to himself, "There are many ways. I can just take my time to think." Soon dusk began to fall. The king sat in his palace sighing. He refused again. The young man bowed his head repeatedly. "My sincerest apologies, your majesty. I could find no way to invite him." The king lamented. "The more I think about it, the stranger this kid is. I only intended to give a reward, because he saved my life." The young man raised his head and offered a suggestion. "This humble servant will go there again tomorrow." The king waved his hand. "Just forget it. How many times have you been there already?" Just then a voice was heard from outside. "Your Majesty, Princess Ashley is here to visit." The king ordered, "Let her in. As for you, you may leave." Princess Ashley entered. Seeing the dejected appearance and the teary eyes of that young man, she could not help but be a little startled. The king asked her, "Ashley, you have arrived." After paying her respects, the princess asked her father, "Why did the messenger look so unwell? Did something happen?" The king sighed. After listening to her father recount everything, the princess let out a gasp. "What, royal father, are you all right? You were not injured anywhere, were you?" Seeing her so worried about him, the king laughed heartily. "Ha ha, if something had happened to me, how could I possibly still be here now, Model? Do not worry too much, my child." The princess finally sighed in relief, but why does that demon swordsman keep refusing? The king shook his head. "I do not know either. He is a talented man. I want to recruit him as my royal guard. But he has no desire to meet me." The princess remarked, "To be praised so much by you, father! He must be truly outstanding." The king nodded. "He is truly outstanding, so much so that I have no words to describe it. Have you heard that the Wild Boar Merchant Guild has been making ice and ice cream to sell recently?" The princess replied, "I have heard of it." The king continued, "Those things were all made by the man who saved me." The princess was astonished. "Is that true?" The king confirmed it is. "That is why I want to bring him here." The princess realized, so that is why. The princess recalled. Not long ago, she herself had tried that ice cream. I cannot forget the feeling of the ice cream melting in my mouth. It was such a coincidence. To think the person father is looking for is him. I wonder what kind of person he is. She looked through the window, watching the children outside. At that moment, each of them was holding a stick of cold ice cream. The princess resolved in her heart, "If I have the chance, I would very much like to meet him." Meanwhile, Tuyet Vodok was still teaching Luffy's group to cultivate in preparation for setting sail. They have only been learning for half a month, yet they can already emit such an aura. Indeed, the concentration of chi here is much denser than in the Central Plains. Quite a bit. After a moment, he told the kids to stop. "Now all of you can control your demonic power. So now we will proceed to the next stage." The excited kids nodded in unison. "Yes, sir." Just then, what was that? The young messenger peeked his head out from behind the tree again. "Sir Swordsman." Tuyet Vodok's expression immediately soured with annoyance. He thought, what in the world? Is this situation repeating itself all over again? He turned his head and saw the messenger. This time he had brought someone else with him. I didn't see him this morning. It made me think he wasn't coming back. After a moment of thought, he scratched his neck and asked, "Why have you come here again?" Just then the necklace on his chest began to glow intensely. This light. Startled, he turned his head to look at the person beside the messenger. At that moment, the princess also removed her hood. "It is a pleasure to meet you. I am a Shield Princess of the Dragon Kingdom." Tuyet Vodok could not believe it. "I found her." A moment later, the group returned to the residence to talk. "I have heard everything. Thank you for saving my father." Tuyet Vodok nodded. "It is true that I saved him." The princess was inwardly confused. "My father and him, why does he speak in such a manner?" Although she was a bit uncomfortable, she still put on a gentle and welcoming smile. "Therefore my father wishes to invite you to return with me. But you have always refused." Tuyet Vodok hesitated. "Ah, about that," the princess interrupted. "You have refused many times, not just once." Tuyet Vodok sighed inwardly. Her expression and words are truly just like Hoa Lian's. Seeing Tuyet Vodok staring blankly, the princess asked again, Why are you not saying anything, Sir Swordsman? Tuyet Vodok was startled back to his senses. He took a sip of his tea and then asked, "When can I go to the palace?" The princess was about to say something more to persuade him when, startled, agitated, and unable to believe her ears, she jumped to her feet. Tuyet Vodok put down his teacup and continued, "You did say you were inviting me there." The princess was stunned that he agreed so easily. For a moment she could not quite process it. After a while she finally nodded and exhaled. "That is right, I came here to invite you to the palace." Tuyet Vodok agreed immediately. "Then when can I go there?" The princess scratched her face. "Around 11 o'clock tomorrow." She wondered uncomfortably to herself, "What is wrong with me?" Tuyet Vodok smiled. "I understand, I will see you tomorrow then." The princess stood up to leave. "Very well then." Tuyet Vodok thought to himself, "Tomorrow I can see her again. But is she a princess? The daughter of this country's king. How can I possibly marry her?" He recalled the memories of his past life. Hualien was killed by her own father. This time I need a concrete plan so that what happened before will not happen again. All right then, I will need Joel Edmund's help. Thinking of this, he went to speak with Joel Edmund. After hearing him out, the man was so shocked he jumped. It was impossible to believe. "What did you say?" Tuyet Vodok confirmed it again. "That is right. I want to marry S-Hyun." Cold sweat poured down Joel Edmund's face like rain. "How could you suddenly want to do such a thing?" Tuyet Vodok frowned and stared at him. "Why not?" Joel Edmund explained. "The princess is the only daughter of His Majesty and the Queen. Swan was the official wife, but she has passed away. The princess is currently the one most likely to inherit the throne. Furthermore, the princess is already betrothed to the prince of the neighboring empire. You would compete with a prince." Joel Edmund was extremely worried. That is not a small country. That empire is one of the 5 most powerful empires. Tuyet Vodok replied calmly, "It is not as if I am incapable." "What do you mean by that?" "Inheriting the throne. Such a noble status. How could someone like you marry the princess?" These words of his were like arrows piercing straight through the chest. Tuyet Vodok, he was indeed just an ordinary person. No status, no title. Joel Edmund continued, "This is truly an absurd matter. To be able to marry the princess, one must be another prince of equal standing to her, or at least the son of a noble family." Tuyet Vodok lowered his head in thought. "In that case, if I become famous and powerful, it seems I would have a chance then, right?" Joel Edmund spoke up. "Of course, if you achieve that, you will have that chance." Tuyet Vodok nodded. "All right. Then let me give it a try." Joel Edmund stopped him. "Wait, but do you know the rules of the palace?" Tuyet Vodok was confused. "What rules? Don't tell me it is the law of the jungle." Joel Edmund quickly went to the bookshelf to find something. "It seems you do not know anything at all." After a moment he took out a pile of books and stacked them in front of Tuyet Vodok. "All of these books are records of etiquette in the royal court." Joel Edmund thought to himself, "If he causes trouble, the merchant guild will not be able to bear the responsibility." Thinking of this, he cheerfully said to Tuyet Vodok, "Please allow me to teach you." Tuyet Vodok was puzzled. Why is he so enthusiastic? In any case, there is no other way. Thinking this, he reached out and picked up a book. "I understand then I will be in your care." That night the two of them studied all night long. Joel Edmund constantly reminded him, "Sir Demon Swordsman, please sit up straight." The next morning at dawn he changed his clothes. He put on a suit of noble attire, looking very elegant. "All right, let's go." A while later, outside the royal palace, "Your Majesty the Demon Swordsman has arrived." Tuyet Vodok stepped out of the carriage, doing exactly as he had learned the previous night. He greeted him very politely. "It is an honor to meet you, Your Majesty." The king could not contain his joy and laughed loudly. "Ha ha, come over here. Please have a seat." Tuyet Vodok walked over and glanced around, feeling very confused. "But isn't today supposed to be a private meeting with me? I thought I would be meeting you alone. Why are there so many people here?" At this moment the princess was also feeling extremely awkward. "I apologize. I did not intentionally arrange the meeting for today." Tuyet Vodok glanced at her and thought to himself, "Seeing how flustered she is, it probably was not intentional." The young man who was taught a lesson by Tuyet Vodok the other day was also present, standing behind his father. "Why is that guy here?" Tuyet Vodok then raised his head to look at him. At a glance he recognized him as the fellow whom he had beaten up the other day. The more he thought about it, the more amused he became, and the corner of his mouth involuntarily curled up. The young man grew angry upon seeing his expression, and veins began to pop out on his forehead. That bastard. Just then, his father spoke up, telling him to stop. Do you want to make a fool of yourself in front of His Majesty? The young man had no other choice but to try to calm himself down, letting out a breath. I understand. Seeing his attitude, Tuyet Vodok silently praised him. It seems you know your place. The king and his companion were now discussing in whispers. It seems he was given quite a beating. It appears so, Your Majesty. After a moment, the king cleared his throat to break the silence. All right. What brings you here to accept my invitation? Do you know how disappointed I was when I thought you had refused it? Tuyet Vodok explained. There is a reason for this. The king asked doubtfully, a reason. Tuyet Vodok continued. As you know, the Wild Boar Merchant Guild is currently very busy and short-handed. Among them, I am the busiest as I have to mass-produce ice. Therefore, I wanted to finish my preparations before coming to see Your Majesty. But the orders kept piling up, so by the time I finished making ice, the day was already over. That is why it was delayed until today. The king had a realization, so that was the reason. I had not considered that. And it is true that the ice and ice cream are selling very well. It is only natural for you to be busy. Tuyet Vodok replied, I am deeply grateful for Your Majesty's understanding. He celebrated inwardly. It seems the situation is quite favorable. This king is rather easygoing. The king asked again, That's right, what is your name? Tuyet Vodok had no intention of revealing his real name, because his name was too different from those in this world. I do not have a name. You may simply call me the Ghost Swordsman, Your Majesty. The king mused, Is that so? But I cannot keep calling you the Ghost Swordsman forever. This is quite a dilemma. An idea silently formed in his mind. Perhaps I should bestow a name upon him. Just then the princess ran over excitedly. How about you bestow a name upon him yourself, father? The king was puzzled. A name. The princess waved her hand. No, I mean bestow a title of nobility. Hearing this, Duke Icarus's face tightened. He clearly did not approve. Even the king was very surprised. A title of nobility. The princess explained. That's right, he saved your life, father. He faced a dragon all by himself. He even created a kind of ice cream that has never existed in this world. A reward like that is completely deserved. Duke Icarus, for some reason, suddenly cut in. That's right, that is an excellent idea. Her Highness the Princess is correct. This is none other than the very benefactor who saved the king's life. How could his great deeds not be rewarded? I believe Her Highness the Princess's opinion is truly excellent. Hearing his praise, the princess was a little embarrassed. It is nothing. But the king had no further objections at this time. Yes, I cannot ignore the one who saved my life. Therefore I shall grant you a title. That night, when I saw you save me, a word came to my mind. You may approach. As Tuyet Vodok stepped forward, he thought a title. Although I dislike kneeling, if I can marry her, then this is nothing at all. Fortunately, I practiced etiquette yesterday with Sir Edmund. The king drew his sword. Tatamilova, the third king of the Dragon Kingdom, declared, I bestow upon you the brave man who disregarded his own life to save me and my retainers from a perilous situation, the title of knight, along with the name Bridget. Tuyet Vodok thought to himself, Bridget. It seems that in the language of this world, it means blizzard. The king continued, This title shall be recognized immediately. Knight Bridget, rise. Tuyet Vodok said nothing, slowly rising to his feet. After he stood up, the king patted his shoulder and spoke again. If not for you, I might not be here anymore. I wish to thank you once again. Tuyet Vodok smiled. If a similar situation were to occur, I would still make the same choice, Your Majesty. At that moment, Duke Icarus spoke up again. How wonderful. Knight Brissot saved Your Majesty's life. I believe he deserves to be granted a fiefdom, befitting his station. The king frowned. To grant a fiefdom to a knight. It is truly unprecedented. This matter will surely face opposition, the Duke replied. Who would dare oppose Your Majesty's command? If there is such a person, then I will let them know the meaning of Your Majesty's sacred edict. The king was extremely puzzled. What is he plotting? To go to such lengths for it? He could not figure it out. He then turned to the other nobles and asked, Do you all think so as well? The group was startled, stammering. Us, Your Majesty. Duke Icarus stared at them with an extremely sharp gaze. The group did not dare to confront him. They exclaimed in fear. Yes, your majesty, we share the same opinion. The king stroked his chin thoughtfully. If you all agree, then that is good. But the fiefdom to be granted to Knight Prasad, where could it possibly be? Duke Icarus immediately spoke up. There is one, your majesty. The frozen lands of the north. The one we discussed in the meeting a few days ago. The king. Upon hearing this, an unsightly expression appeared on his face. The duke continued. As it happens, we need a lord to govern that land. This is truly a coincidence. Come to think of it, the name. Brisad and the northern lands are quite a match. A blizzard in the northern lands, it sounds so auspicious. The king suddenly realized. So this was his plan. Tuyet Vodok was also pondering inwardly. He wants to drive me away from here, to take revenge for his son, and to restore his own honor. I have been suspicious ever since he suggested granting the title Dot Model. The princess was also thinking to herself, the land to the north, could it be that frozen continent? Is he planning to send him there? The corner of Tuyet Vodok's mouth lifted. A fiefdom, you say. He wants to banish me because of his son. But if land is being given, why not accept it? I will use this opportunity to perform meritorious deeds and build my reputation, to close the gap in status between her and me. After Tuyet Vodok returned, he told Joel Edmund everything that had happened. After hearing this, he could not believe it. What? The northern lands. It is said that place has both blizzards and avalanches. Such a harsh climate can cause mana to become unstable. Do you really have to go there? Tuyet Vodok calmly drank his tea. That's right. Do not worry, I am not afraid of the cold. Unstable mana is also not a problem. Roll Edmund's face was filled with helplessness. Sir Magic Swordsman, no Lord Baron. You speak as if you were a snowman. Tuyet Vodok was puzzled. A snowman. Roll Edmund nodded. That's right, they are a legendary tribe from ancient times, residing in the distant north. Their appearance is quite similar to that of humans, but they can grow up to 3 meters tall. They also possess incredible strength. They do not know what cold is, but their tempers are extremely aggressive. Tuyet Vodok made a sound of interest. That sounds interesting. Roll Edmund continued. But that is only a legend, because no one has ever seen them. Moreover, in the north there are also valiant warriors, known as the Nhat Duong Bok. They are the reason that place has no ruler. Tuyet Vodok was not afraid in the slightest. On the contrary, he laughed with great interest. The more I hear, the more captivating it becomes. If I win the recognition of the people of the north, then my reputation will surely soar. As he spoke, he pushed open the door, intending to leave. He was startled as soon as he stepped outside, because the kids were there. They were eavesdropping. Knowing he was about to leave, none of them could hold back their tears. After hearing the kids say they wanted to go with him, Tuyet Vodok firmly refused. You cannot. You have barely learned any martial arts. What is the point of you following me there? Savina replied, Master, what we have learned is only a small fraction of everything we still need to understand. If the magic swordsman leaves now, we will not have anyone left to teach us magic. Leo agreed. Savina is right. Savina bowed, pleading for the magic swordsman to take them along. The other kids all bowed as well. We beg you. Tuyet Vodok sighed helplessly. These kids, honestly. Just then he glanced back, startled again. It was Ashhilder. The princess greeted him. Hello, Baron. Tuyet Vodok looked at her in confusion. The princess looked very unwell. Has something happened? The princess hesitated. Could we speak privately for a moment? Tuyet Vodok immediately turned to shoo the kids away. Of course. Hey, you kids go on now. Seeing the kids exchange glances instead of leaving, Tuyet Vodok prompted them again. Why are you still here? What are you all plotting? Savina replied loudly. Then the magic swordsman must agree to our request. We will leave once you give us an answer. Tuyet Vodok was helpless. There was no way to get rid of these kids. These kids, honestly. He glanced back again, startled. It was Ashhilder. Just go and speak privately with your love. I know there is no other way but to agree with them. You can all go now. Seeing that he had agreed, the kids grew excited. They all jumped for joy before leaving. Thank you, Master. Tuyet Vodok was dejected. All right, now hurry and go so the adults can talk privately. The princess remarked, you have such well-behaved disciples. Tuyet Vodok said irritably, well-behaved in what way? They are defying me. Hearing this, the princess could not help but laugh. Tuyet Vodok smiled along with her. Are you feeling more at ease now, princess? The The princess immediately grew melancholic. I apologize. You have to go to the north. It is all because I mentioned the matter of bestowing a title. Tuyet Vodok sighed inwardly. She is truly just like her. She also once apologized to me because of Dam Thien Hawk. He recalled the memory from that year. Hua Lian buried herself in his chest, crying, I am sorry. I am sorry, my love, it is all my fault. Seeing Hua Lian like this again, Tuyet Vodok could not help but smile unconsciously. If I had not been granted the title, I would not have been able to set foot in the north. Hearing this, the princess thought he was blaming her, and she felt even more guilty. Is that so? I am truly sorry. Tuyet Vodok rejoiced inwardly. She is so adorable. After thinking for a moment, he spoke again. You do not need to apologize, princess. However, he had not yet finished speaking. The princess interrupted to ask, Is there anything I can do to help you? Tuyet Vodok hesitated. I am not so sure. But I have heard about a kind of good luck charm. If I could receive it, that would be quite all right. The princess was confused. A good luck charm? What is that? Tuyet Vodok leaned in close to her. He spoke to her face to face. It is a kiss, one that contains sincere concern for the other person. The princess was startled to hear this. A kiss. Why did she immediately recoil in fear? What? Seeing her so agitated, Tuyet Vodok waved his hand dismissively. Perhaps I should not have mentioned it. In any case, I must prepare to depart. Princess, please forget what I just said. The princess stood there watching his departing figure. She was extremely furious inside. He just says that and leaves like that. Suddenly, she felt that his figure looked somewhat familiar. She unconsciously froze on the spot. Her eyes widened as she called for him to stop. Hearing her call, Tuyet Vodok stopped. The princess walked up to the baron. Tuyet Vodok was puzzled. Is something the matter? The princess stared at him, thinking to herself, What was that just now? Did I see it wrong? But why do I feel such familiarity with every gesture and action of this person? After thinking for a moment, she had a realization and spoke up. I understand now. I will give you a good luck charm. Tuyet Vodok's jaw dropped. A cold sweat began to form. I was only joking just now. Surely she doesn't intend to actually do it. Thinking this, he said, It is all right. I do not wish to force you. So, princess, you do not have to. He had not even finished his sentence when the princess grabbed his collar and pulled him close. She gave him a forceful kiss. After the kiss, she shyly pulled her hood over her head. Is that enough? Without waiting for Tuyet Vodok to recover his senses, she quickly ran away. An unknown amount of time passed. Tuyet Vodok finally let out a sound. He turned and smiled, Princess. The princess running ahead replied, I wish you a safe journey. The scene changes to Biekson Tuyet Dia. I heard a new lord is coming here, is that right? That is right. It seems he just saved the king's life. Is that true? That must be why he was granted a title and a territory. It is said he is strong enough to face things alone, with more than 100 enemies at once. His swordsmanship is also exceptional in this world. To think someone that multi-talented actually exists. Only someone like that would catch the eye of Duke Ikaros. Isn't that right? Just then, someone slammed their hand on the table, interrupting the crowd. It is all just a rumor. Just you wait and see. He will eventually get scared and run back to the capital. The next day, somewhere on a mountain, here two people were leaning back to back, as if defending against something. Damn it, where did all those dragons go? Just as they finished speaking, a monster charged forward from the front. Seeing his companion struck by the monster, the other person ran over in a panic. Are you okay, Louis? Damn it. All because of a few eggs. We have to suffer like this. The woman lay on the ground in pain. Her eyes immediately widened in terror, because that beast was now right behind him. It opened its mouth to snap at him. Kill it, it's behind you. The young man was running. Hearing that, he was startled and turned his head. The beast's wide mouth was just about to snap shut. He was helpless with no way to escape. At that moment, a figure appeared, seemingly from out of nowhere, and charged to attack the beast with a single slash of the sword, giving it no chance whatsoever. He easily cut off its head. The two of them saw the beast die right before their eyes, and could not believe it. They stood there stunned, their mouths agape. The one who saved them was none other than Tuyet Vodok. He asked if they were all right, and the woman thanked him. Thank you for helping us. Tuyet Vodok smiled. It was nothing. This is simply what a lord should do. hearing him claim to be a lord. The two of them were once again astonished. Tuyet Vodok did not pay much attention to their reaction and turned to leave. "We will meet again." The two were about to say something, but it was too late. He had already leaped away and vanished without a trace. He left so quickly. He was gone in an instant. The young man then realized something with a start. The dragon egg is gone too. The scene changes to a nearby citadel. Tuyet Vodok sat in his manor, resting his chin on his hand and sighing goodness. Why is it so deserted? Does no one know that I am taking office today? His subordinate below replied, "My apologies, my lord. This subordinate will send letters to the villages later." Tuyet Vodok shook his head. "There is no need, they will not come even if you call them." He thought to himself, "People call this the debut of Carolyn. Is that right? I see now why the lords keep getting driven away. But it is all right, I have a way to deal with this." Time passed by quickly and several days went by. Impossible. What happened? Who was it? Could it be that new lord? Yes, he is very strong. I do not know what method he used. But when he touched me, I could no longer move. He was also very ruthless, causing me unbearable pain. The group was still pondering. Then a voice was heard from outside. "He has appeared. He is at the city square." The one-eyed man was suspicious model. He came all the way here. He quickly gave orders. "All right, I will be there right away." As soon as he arrived, the crowd let out a cheer. Finally, the #1 warrior. Has Carolyn finally decided to show himself? Hilarious, I believe in you. Go deal with him. Tuyet Vodok stood in the square. He remained nonchalant, not yet saying a word. He thought to himself, so many people have gathered here. Just then someone stepped forward and waved at him. "Is that you, sir?" This woman was the one from the other day, the one Tuyet Vodok saved on the mountain. She had just stepped back when another voice rang out. "Rui, why are you here?" The woman replied. "I saw the large crowd gathering, so I came to see." The one-eyed man replied, "It is just the new lord who has arrived." She heard this. In her mind, she recalled Tuyet Vodok's words from that time. So that is what it was. She quickly turned to her father and said, "The other day I told you, father, about the person who saved me when I was in danger." The one-eyed man felt awkward inside. He never expected that the person who saved his daughter was the Lord. This is going to be trouble. Besides, he did not just defeat an ordinary dragon, but an ice dragon. Even the warrior Carolyn would find it difficult to do such a thing. To think that a Carolyn warrior like myself would have to acknowledge someone like him. But I cannot back down either. Thinking this, he stepped forward and extended his hand. "It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Mark, the #1 warrior of Carnell." Tuyet Vodok showed him no courtesy at all. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. "This one is the new lord of Carnell." Mark did not get angry and continued. "I have heard stories about you. It is said you attack the villagers, is that true?" Tuyet Vodok explained. "Not at all. I only came to punish those who were causing trouble." "What about you? Did you do the same things they did?" Mark replied, "I did not. However, I have a proposal." Tuyet Vodok was skeptical. "A proposal?" Mark explained, "This is a cold place. Therefore, the people who live here often drink a strong liquor to withstand the cold. Would you care to have a drink with me?" Although Tuyet Vodok did not know what he meant, he calmly accepted. "Very well," Mark warned. "Please think carefully before you accept. This is no ordinary liquor." Tuyet Vodok replied with extreme confidence, "I know. But if I win, then you must all recognize me as your lord and obey me." The surrounding crowd was utterly astonished. A drinking contest with Mark. Is that guy insane? Are they really going to have a drinking contest? Of course Mark will win. Mark's expression turned serious. "I understand." Tuyet Vodok reminded him a promise is a promise. The two of them quickly went to a table piled high with liquor. Mark spoke up with a warning. "If you wish to back out now, there is still time." Tuyet Vodok gave a cold smile. "As a lord, how could I possibly retreat? Let us begin." Seeing his confidence, the corners of Mark's mouth turned up. "Remember not to regret this.